The last Indiana Jones movie has arrived. Is it a good conclusion to the franchise? Let's talk about it. What's up guys, welcome to Superwise. I'm John, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny has arrived. And for context, Indiana Jones, iconic. He's one of the best movie characters of all time. I love him, he's been a hero growing up. The trilogy is great, and I like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull more than most. I think it's very hyperbolic when people say it's god-awful or it's terrible. I enjoyed it, but now we've entered this last film. So how was this final film? I liked it, I enjoyed it, but it is the weakest Indiana Jones movie, and it wasn't as great as I hoped. If I had to rate the movie, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. This film was not directed by Spielberg, and you can tell it lacked that Spielberg magic. Even though there were some Spielberg moments in there, and to a point I actually liked that it felt a little different. A new face for the franchise with James Mangold. And James Mangold's a GOAT, he's a great director, and he did a good job here. Specifically with the action, the opening 15 minutes takes place in a flashback, and I honestly could have just had a whole film of that. I thought that opening was very cool. De-aged Harrison for the most part looked alright, even though it was spotty and noticeable in many scenes. But it was cool to see the attempt, and for the most part it worked for me. The story itself was serviceable, an entertaining enough ride. Even though this movie is full of tropes and cliches, classic Spielberg tropes, but Spielberg did them to a point, and this movie overdoes them. There's so many moments, like 5 or 6 moments, where the characters, they get a head start, and then the villains are like right there the next 5 minutes. It was incredibly tiring and overdone. I was like, can y'all do something new than just this over and over? But overall, the concept of Archimedes and the time travel was interesting, and when they actually do it and go back in time, it's this big event, it's of epic scope, and they make it a big deal. So that was cool, but the strongest thing about this movie is the character of Indy himself. He's an old man out of time with no purpose, and by the end of the movie, you really see how that gets to him. I was genuinely sad to hear that Mutt died canonically because I like the character, but I think it was good character growth for Indy because it affected him, and we saw that. Because of that, because of Mutt just wanting to piss his dad off and him dying, that destroyed Indy's marriage. But also internally, Indy regrets that because if he could change it, he absolutely would do it in a heartbeat. And now that I'm talking out loud about it, I actually think it's a missed opportunity that they didn't delve into this more. That Indy had the power to time travel. Would he go back actually and save his son? Would he do that for personal reasons? But then again, that's actually very similar to The Flash and what Barry went through with trying to save his mother. So, I'm just talking it out, but it's interesting to think about. Helena was played well by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but it was hard to root for the character sometimes because she was so greedy and she cared only about the money primarily throughout the entire runtime. But the character's writing could have been much better. We see Sala, which is great, and by the end of the movie, we see Marion, and, they get back together at the very end, and it's a happy ending, and I loved it. I love that aspect of it. How through the tragedy they both face, they come back together, and they're gonna work it out, and it seems like everything's gonna be alright. I really enjoyed that. When we saw those ending credits, it felt right. I missed Short Round, I wanted to see him back one more time, so 0 out of 10 movie. Now, in all seriousness, it was an alright movie. I enjoyed myself, I thought it was solid, with many issues. Pacing, no Spielberg magic, certain tropes overdone. But it was entertaining and a serviceable end to the franchise. Tell me your thoughts on this film in the comments down below. Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That'll be all for me. Remember my catchphrase, guys. Stay super wise.